nose to Fruit Loops World, now on Roblox. Run, jump, and soar your way through a...
And so, yeah, so today we're going to see... Sorry I actually started this, it just didn't work out. Anyways, so let us get on with the first thing that happens important. How does that actually importantly happens? Who's this? You. China. Yeah? I'm going to invade you, says Japan. Okay, says China. I'll fight back. I dare you, says Japan. Well, I will fight back, says China. Meanwhile, Japan just invading China. Anyway, so you see Japan's forces cross the border into China. I'll just say they capture quite a bit of land here on the border. Take over most of this area here. Then they just begin to push south past Beijing. They just continue push here. They capture this peninsula, and they link up their forces. China, can someone help? UK, stop it, Japan, or I'll attack you. Fine, says Japan, halting their advance. Now Japan halts their advance right about here. But then, something else important happens. This is on the other edge of the world. Where Germany just recently annexed Austria and the Sudetenland. It also took over Lithuania. But then meanwhile in the east, Japan continues its advance against China. A good part of 1938. 1939. Nothing really happens. Until then, suddenly, Japan managed to get an edge over China. Several naval landings resulted in Japan getting the slight upper hand against China in the east. With Japanese major conquests now underway, it was only a matter of time before China would fall. But then, they had a stroke of luck. A stroke of luck. Annexation of Slovakia entirely into Germany. Was threatening. But then China began its own counterattack. Its own counterattack. So slowly the Chinese did regain some ground while the Japanese were slightly distracted. Somewhat distracted, they did manage to retake back some land from the somewhat weakened Japanese army. Then to push them all the way back up into here, and then the Netherlands. And this is chilling. We were just watching. But then, Germany invaded Poland. It is early September 1939. Germany has just invaded Poland a few days ago. Starting World War II. German forces surround Warsaw. And then Russian forces invade from the east, crushing Poland. Now with that, the Russians get a little bit cocky and they try going to war with Finland. And suddenly, once the Winter War starts, the Red Army has struggles, managing to gain small amounts of land. And eventually the Finnish launch full-on counters. Finland captures Murmansk. Russian Northern Army, cut off from supplies, begins its retreat. Russia and Finland sign peace. Russia regained most of land. Russia gains almost all of its land. But Finland does get to keep some minor gains. But then, Russia annexes the Baltic states in January. Well, except for Lithuania. And then they annex Lithuania, after hearing that Germany doesn't want it. Obviously, they're all too strong. But then again, it is kind of hard for the countries to fight. So then suddenly, they just then begin the Great Invasion of Norway. And the invasion of Norway and Denmark was a turning point in World War II. As it showed that Germany's strength was now able to rival the Allies. And then, the next month, they launched the assault through the Benelux countries, encircling the Allied forces, and managing to defeat France. France somewhat quick. It's quite a bit quicker than normal. So France doesn't surrender, resulting in the French forces being pushed out of the Alps first, and then out of the rest of the country. The French continues to fight on, and it was also at this time that Italy joined in on the war. So they joined in last second. They get quite a bit of stuff while they're at it. And then they also tend conquering French Tunisia. And French controlled Tunisia That goes pretty good. Because then they also take over French Djibouti. We understand an island. This is now being somewhat pushed. That's a good point. That point pretty much meant that, well, pretty much Argentina and Brazil both looked at the world and said, hey, you know, Argentina ain't really doing so bad. So they decided to try to help them. This Germany was on a roll. Then Germany got some more friends. Soon, with Italy helping them out, soon they launched their offensive into Egypt, and it goes pretty well, with German and Hungarian support. They take Alexandria and Cairo. Where Germany conquers Syria, Lebanon, and then makes a push down. So as you all can see, it really needs on some pretty good time right here. It is now early 1941. Germany owns a lot of Europe. But they are now also starting to push farther and farther north into Norway. Then they capture Svalbard. They capture all Svalbard. Soon they continued their offensives. But then Egypt suddenly surrenders. Actually, a number of British colonies start surrendering. Soon, a number of British and French colonies are beginning to fall to German and Japanese hands. Meanwhile, Germany launches Operation Barbarossa, and this time it's a lot more of a success with more help from Italy. They managed to push far. Lithuania, eager to take back their land, they went for it. They lurched at the opportunity, and they began a great pushback. Pushed up to here, and the Germans did the rest. It was epic. It was an epic battle to the death to the Germans and the Soviets. In 1941, the war had pretty much reached its low point for the Allies in the 1940s. This is an extended World War II, by the way. It's a lot longer than I think it was going to be. Throughout the 1941 and 1942, the Germans made great advances. And we're looking at 1941's advances. 1941's were great. with the Germans making a new capital city in Ukraine. With the Germans capturing Moscow in 1941, Russia seemed like it was going to lose. But then, the Russian counters. Even with smaller Russian counterattacks, still they were strong. Then suddenly, the Germans decided to launch round two. Round two of offensives. They pushed into the Caucasus, capturing Crimea. Linking up to the Crimean forces, and they continued their advance. The continuance of their advances, they suddenly just then, hello? Was like, hello, generals? You guys suck. So they fired all their bad ones and they kept the good ones. So that's how Germany managed to capture Stalingrad in this timeline. Anyway, so this is what Germany's forces look like. They also got Turkey and pretty much everyone in the Balkans joined them. So pretty much it looks like Germany's going to win early. Right? No. Because Russia's still very strong. Very strong. Let's see what Japan's doing. Oh. Japan just launched a small offensive. A decent-sized offensive into Therna. They went straight up to Australia and towards India. This was pretty much the end of their rapid expansion. Soon, they began the conquest of Borneo, and Sumatra. Both took quite a while to take. And soon, the Dutch government in exile. How soon? It wasn't really fighting. It wasn't really fighting. It's the Japanese. So, therefore, the Japanese took over the entire island of Borneo. Boom, just like that. And they also launched offensives in South China, which got up to here. And they launched an offensive from the north, which pushed up to about here. But then, the Japanese had an idea. They were going to push a little bit from the south and a little bit from the north in two places. The Chinese didn't know which one they would go from. And so they inched their way forward. Until the right time came, they linked up, and while the other ones had pushed back, the other two got up together. And also the Chinese did also begin launching smaller attacks. Attacks against their opponents. It was acting from Tucson, South Korea, all the way to the capital of Myanmar. Yeah, that was quite insane. I was still staying in Japanese territory. And then there was an attack. So pretty much, this is the map. And then, I was kidding earlier about how World War II is going to last a lot longer. It actually didn't last very long. Yeah, it didn't. So then, suddenly, there's a new country outlined in orange. This country was heavily German allied. It's hardline German. So then, there was a new country that did at least was German and Italian allied. And, well, that was it, really, for border changes, besides Italy getting a lot of land. Well, China detained was forced to... China Japan was forced to return a lot of land, so they'll back most of their forces. Most of the forces, and they're allowed to retain this much land. So yeah, so that was the consequences of the war. That's really all that happened, so I guess we can end it off here. Bye-bye.